shocking 1/3 of American adults are obese. That's 63.6 million. Obesity is estimated to cause about 300,000 deaths in the U.S. every year, according to the American Obesity Association. An estimated $3.9 billion a year is lost due to weight-caused illnesses. Overweight and obese conditions cost a total of $117 billion per year in medical expenses.
If you're obese, it means you weigh much more than is healthy for you. It happens because you eat more calories than your body uses. The extra calories are stored as fat. Since the body consumes much more calories than is needed, it causes obesity, which may also occur because of excessive eating.
Things were different 50 years ago. Kids used to play outside, after school and during the weekends. Kids rode their bikes or walked to school. Fast food hadn't even been invented. In 1960, the rate of obesity among adults ages 20 to 74 was 13.3%. Kids nowadays use the majority of their time either playing video games, watching TV, or participating in online social activities. Kids no longer play outside after school. Kids take the bus to school or have their parents drive them there. In 2004, obesity had increased to 32.1%. Nowadays, it's easy to take in too many calories. Calorie-dense foods are cheap and easier to obtain. Although families want to be healthy, many cannot afford to obtain the healthier foods because they are more expensive. Healthier foods are more time-consuming to prepare, while calorie-dense foods are easier to make. Many factors in America put in the cause for obesity. There is not enough parks or central buildings for teenagers to get their daily exercise to rid their calories.
If one takes in more calories and does exercise, then it builds up in the body and is contained as fat.
We went to the Northridge Hospital to get more information on obesity.
Northridge Hospital.
Alfred just asked me, my name is Ray Dawes, I'm one of the clinical supervisors of the ER here at Northridge Hospital. He asked me a couple of questions before the camp. He asked me about what obesity is, how it affects the ER. I'm focusing because I work in the ER, and how it affects costs, which I'm not sure I'm going to go about. But obesity basically is being, what you may think is being overweight. There's guidelines between the basic BSA. The body surface area is calculated by your height and your ideal weight, which you should be. And if you look at those guidelines, they're pretty stringent, and pretty much most of the people here in California and America are mildly obese, moderately obese. When you do 10% obese, 25% obese. What happens is obesity causes a lot of problems. And when you're obese, you have the problems with hypertension, high blood pressure, blood sugar issues like diabetes is more prevalent. Heart conditions, your heart has to work harder. Heart problems, not healthy. It's heavier to work on the heart. And this, also, I know right now there's problems with obesity in children, younger children becoming more obese at a younger age, which predisposition for like diabetes. What happens right now in healthcare issues is right now everything's about fix it up, band-aid stuff, and then when a person does get obese, then we treat it. Where there's not really any problems with healthcare, you said about issues of healthcare. There's not really any preventative medicines, just with the funding of the government and also healthcare as it is right now. Everything's like, if you get the disease or the process, then we'll fix it. There's not really education on how to avoid diabetes, or obesity, how to eat healthy, and not preventative, like follow-up checkups, check your health and stuff like that, things after the fact. And that's a cause where we do a little bit of preventive, investing money in preventative measures, educating on any kind of healthcare issues.
Obesity has now been recognized as a national problem.
We must address obesity among America's children. More than 60 years later, America faces the same problem. 27% of young Americans are unable to serve in the military because they are overweight.
In the late 1970s, 15% of American adults were obese. By the early 90s, that number had jumped to 23%, and most recently, 35%.
The United States of America spends $147 billion each year in excess medical costs treating obesity-related diseases. Indeed, we cannot afford not to address this problem. We must address this problem.
This problem must be stopped. People in America must cut down on fast food and begin to eat healthier. They have to exercise daily to even out the calorie intake and the calorie loss due to exercise.